Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, this is Dave with Redneckanize Radio. Hope everybody's having a good old Sunday evening there. If you don't know what music we're listening to, hey, this is Ukraine rock right here, buddy. I'll tell you what, everybody out there right now, you're talking about being like freedom fighters or any kind of like fighting for your freedom or thinking about what it's like to fight like a Ukrainian. I tell you what, those guys are doing an awesome job out there. And here at Redneckanize, when we support them and we're praying for them. And I tell you what, if it was back in the day, you know, where there wasn't much going on, I think a lot more of us would be volunteering to go over there, just like we did before the United States got into World War II. A lot of volunteers went across the ocean to fight for the British or the French, just so they could help out. And I think there would be a lot of Americans that are wanting to do that now because of course, we'll dive all into that. I got a lot of thoughts on that, and I just wanted to get that point across. But also, like I said, we're keeping up with the Freedom Convoy going out there and talking about what that's going on. And you can call in 516-387-1733. So if you guys been living under a rock and you don't know that Russia, the President Putin, Russia has invaded Ukraine, and everybody thought it's just going to be a slaughter. That Russia's massive army, not as massive as the United States Army, but bigger than most armies in Europe, was just going to roll right in and take over everything and immediately take over the government. And I guess what the plan was is they were going to go in there and get the president of Ukraine and either arrest him, knock him out, kill him, whatever, and then just install their little puppet regime where they can control everything, because we find out later on that the country north of Ukraine is an independent country, but they have a puppet government that does anything that Russia wants them to do. So what happened was the Ukraine president says, get the hell out of here. I ain't having none of this crap. We're not going anywhere. And now it's been, 4 days now? Almost 5 days? And Russia really hasn't done much. They keep reporting that, they're moving in. And we get told all the time, they're moving in, they're coming in. And, we hear shooting, we hear stuff, but, as soon as all that's done with, the reporter comes back on and says, well, the water's still on, the internet's still working, the, electricity's still on, and everything's still fine, but you can still hear shooting in the distance, but that's about it. And, come to find out, man, Ukraine is kicking ass, really, if you think about it. There was a report that one soldier actually blew himself up in his own vehicle to destroy a bridge to prevent Russia from crossing the river on that bridge. And he sacrificed himself to make sure that the Russians couldn't cross. And that's just something else. That's amazing to me. I never would have thought that would have been an option, that kind of thing. And you see people of Ukraine just fighting. They've had citizens. The citizens have gotten, they're passing out rifles. And, I saw it. And when I saw that, I was like, well, that's what happens when, you have one guy said one time, a armed society is a polite society. And what it is, it's everybody is able to say, hey, don't screw with me. Don't try to take my stuff. Don't try to take my property. Don't try to take my freedom. I got a rifle right here. I can just defend it right here. And I will. And that's what Ukraine is doing right now. And they're not even a completely free country like you think here. I mean, you would think, why would they need to pass out rifles if everybody was able to go buy a rifle if they wanted one? So just think about that. If they had a more of a established Second Amendment policy where people could go buy firearms when they wanted to, and instead of having to get a license or a permit or whatever, there's I guess a severe age restriction on having a firearm, and they just threw that out the window. We were talking about it earlier, where the government changes the rules to benefit themselves. Well, that's what it is. The administration there, the president of Ukraine, he's going to get taken over if he doesn't fight. Well, I need soldiers. And I don't care what the rules are, just get me soldiers. And that's what they're doing. But I tell you what's amazing to me, the way they're fighting over there, and that's awesome. And that's really awesome. And I couldn't be more prouder. Sometimes I look at what they're doing right now compared to what we've been arguing about and fighting over here. It's just stupid. Stupid. And, when you got politicians here, I think Ben Shapiro spelled it out the best. We don't fight like that, because fighting like that can make, it's a high risk. You could die, or you could lose something. Something could get destroyed. You see everybody talking about, you got the guy with the pickup truck. He's got the sticker on there that says, Glock or Smith & Wesson, or I'm a badass, or, I'm going to shoot first and ask what I'm going to do all this. But he's got that real nice pickup. So what's going to happen is he's not going to do a lot to mess that pickup up. He's not going to mess that pickup. If it came down to life or death, he probably would. But, when it came down to freedom, he might not. So I don't see people in the United States fighting like those people in Ukraine are. And those guys are sitting there. They had a couple of guys being interviewed on Fox News where they were just hunkered down in their apartment, just waiting for orders. They were issued rifles, and they're part of a little militia in the neighborhood, keeping tabs on everything. And they were just kind of waiting. Had the rifles sitting in the corner, talking on the internet to the people on the news station, and they said, hey, we're old enough to remember when we were under the Soviet Union. That's not going to happen again. And see, we haven't had anything like that. Everything's good here in the United States. We got it pretty good. I mean, even when the guys are crying about taking our rifles away or crying about taking our money and paying for healthcare and all that, it's still not that bad. Compared to what those other guys over there, those other guys in Ukraine, if they're in their late 40s, they remember back in the 80s and 90s when, if you didn't think a certain way or you didn't vote a certain way or you didn't, if you didn't stand there at attention when the mayor, or president, or governor, or whatever drove by, they arrested you just for not being part of all that. So they remember, they remember having to stand in line for food, stand in line to get, maybe to get a coat, and you might have got one, you might not have got one. They remember all that. So my hat's off to them. And I'll tell you what, so what we found out, I guess the last thing that I remember, because I took a nap here recently. So the last thing I remember, they were talking about Putin putting his nuclear people on standby or high alert or whatever. And I think that's just kind of I don't know if he's really crazy enough to do something like that, or if he's just kind of saying, hey, you better back off supplying these guys, or we're going to, I've got my finger on the button. I might do something. But he knows. I mean, he has to know that as soon as he fires something, or if he even like looks like he might do it, other countries will do the same, then it's kind of like if he shoots it, then the United States is going to shoot it, then China's going to shoot it, then North Korea is going to shoot it, all kinds of crap is going to go off. So we know nobody's going to do that, unless they're just absolutely do not care. And that's the scary part about Putin. You don't know if he cares or not, because what we know he does not care about is he does not care about his own people and their economy, because with these sanctions, he doesn't care. One politician was on the news channel the other day talking about, well, when the people of Russia go to their banks and their currency is not that valued, or the price of their food goes up 50% all of a sudden, he's going to have to do something. He don't care. He doesn't care about that. So, I mean, they're already poor. Why would they be worried about being more poor? It's a poor country. Their economy, Russia's economy, is like Florida's economy. With all that land and all those people, they don't produce that much. They don't have that much like gross domestic whatever. So, but that's my take on most of that. And the other thing is as I was talking to, I think I was talking to some, I can't remember, but I was like, maybe we ought to just go ahead and just go at it, go at them, and they might fire a nuclear weapon, but hey, if he hits Seattle or San Francisco, I mean, sometimes, sometimes you got to take the good with the bad. So it's like, well, you might lose Seattle. Oh, well, tell the people to get out there if they can, it's like but it's maybe it's a risk, that's worth doing. If it means eliminating Russia for good, creating a free capitalistic society over there to where they can actually produce their own products and all that. You would think, I don't know. I'd be so pissed at my country if my country couldn't make a car. Or couldn't make just, I don't know, I guess they had good ships and planes and jets and submarines and all that. They supposedly built Red October, for crying out loud, a badass submarine that everybody loves watching the movie about, but they couldn't make cars or pickup trucks. So, hey, I don't understand it. Let's see who we got here on the phone. I think this is there he is. Is that
what's up?
Here, let me play this for you and see how this goes.
Support for Ukraine right here in Chicago from a number of semi-truck drivers who brought their rigs downtown to send a message. NBC5's V-Win joins us now live at Buckingham Fountain with that story.
This is truckers with Ukraine flags.
Kate, dozens of truck drivers took part in that truck convoy to protest against the invasion and, of course, to demand that the U.S. do more than just impose sanctions on Russia. They drove in from the suburbs and ended the demonstration here at Buckingham Fountain just a few hours ago. Now, video taken from this afternoon shows so many truck cabs all parked along Columbus Drive near Ivy Wells. Many of these drivers are Ukrainian and have been watching the horror that's been unfolding in their country. We know some of them still have immediate family members in Ukraine, now hiding out in bomb shelters. Drivers met up in East Dundee this morning for the convoy before making their way to Chicago. The Ukrainian flag was seen along I-90, then I-55, then Lakeshore Drive. Organizers of this convoy want to send a message that Ukrainians are united. They're urging President Joe Biden and other Western leaders to help support their country and say every second is crucial.
We are hoping that we can demonstrate that we're united, that the world can see that we are together, joined by our brothers and sisters all over the world, and that we are supporting Ukraine. And this demonstration is the demand for help. We demand help for Ukraine, so we want help for Ukraine. Help Ukraine.
Hey.
Now, Illinois State Police say more truck convoys are being planned along different interstates from now through next weekend. They're already warning drivers about possible traffic delays and say while they respect the rights of citizens to express their opinions, they just want to make sure everyone does so safely. Reporting live at Buckingham Fountain, V1 NBC5 News.
Thank you so much for that report.
Well, so I wanted to comment on this. So we got a comment on Facebook, and I thought, yeah, he ain't. I don't even know if he's even watching it even anymore. But he commented on there because earlier I said that what if we got Putin acting crazy. You know, China may do something. North Korea, they're just going to follow suit. They might do something crazy. What if, it's one of those things where he's got his finger on the button, but he has to know because everybody knows that once one fires it, then the other one, then the other one, then the other one. The next thing you know, everybody fires them all, and we're done, right? So nobody's really going to fire one unless they know that somebody can't fire or won't fire. So it's kind of like where you got Biden. Putin could fire a nuke, and Biden might say, let's hold off. Because Biden's an idiot, right? Yeah. So he's like, so I was like, well, let's count the risk here. Let's go ahead and take care of Putin. Let's go ahead and just go in and knock him out. Let's get him. Let's go. We can create a great country in Russia by just doing our own thing, taking him over, and now we control him. And of course, he might fire a nuke before we get there, and that nuke might make it to Seattle. And it's like, well, maybe that's not. It's sad, but hey, what are you going to do? It's
I don't know. Maybe Black Lives Matter will all be in Seattle or.
Well, that's the thing. It's like they're a bunch of leftists anyway, so it wouldn't be that And of course they've got time to get out or whatever. But he was like, I can't believe you would risk millions of people just to go to war with Russia. And it's like, okay, China killed how many people with the coronavirus, and nothing's happening to them.
Yeah.
Fauci actually gave money to the lab to research that disease, the virus. And he's covering it up, and nobody's doing a damn thing about it. So
in the last week, how much have you heard from Fauci in the last week?
Oh, dude, Putin, the pandemic is over. Putin, and just at a snap of his finger, Putin ended the pandemic by invading Ukraine.
Exactly,
the pandemic is over.
We haven't heard anything from Fauci in a couple weeks.
Yeah, he's done. Nobody cares about him anymore. He doesn't have any expertise on Ukraine or Russia, so we don't want to talk to him. And the problem is that these people actually we know that those people acted bad and people died because of the way they acted. And here you are saying, well, we shouldn't be risking American lives to go to war with Russia. Okay, I'm in. Let's do it. I'll go. But where's the plane? When's the plane leaving?
How many American lives was risked when we went to war with any other country? What about World War I? What about World War II?
Well,
what about that? There was a lot of American lives. What about Afghanistan? What about Iraq?
Yeah, I say it all the time.
Wake up, open your eyes.
I say it all the time. You risk your life when you get out of bed in the morning. And if you're not doing that,
Exactly.